Hi, this is Cypress here doing another Let's Play video featuring Kerbal Space Program. Today I'll be doing a close simulation or reenactment of the Apollo 11 mission, which put astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start a new sandbox, and we'll name it Apollo 11. APOLO 11. Okay. I'll keep the difficulty options right where they're at. I'm changing the flag to NASA if I find it. There it is. And let's start. Now I'm going to be doing this in 100% stock Kerbal Space Program. I have no mods installed. Actually, I backed up my old folder. I had tons of mods, but so this is the stock version of Kerbal Space Program. Let's go ahead and change the name. Hashtag AP Apollo 11. Alright. Now, the Apollo 11 mission contained a command module which seated 3 people. It was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Coleman. The command module was also the only part that returned back to Earth, so we're going to have to add a heat shield for the return trip. The rest of the rocket was expended either in space or burnt up in the atmosphere. Let's see here. I don't see... Oh, here they are. My tabs are all messed up because I'm used to finding parts on my modded version. Alright, so let's go ahead and put that there, and some bigger chutes there. Separate the stages. Okay, now there was a docking port on the top, and wrong one, and a launch escape system on the command pod. In the event that the rocket malfunctioned, the launch escape system would pull the command module away from the malfunctioning rocket. So directly below the command module was the service module. This provided food, water, oxygen, propulsion, and all that other stuff. Service module was pretty big like that, and we'll power it by a Poodle engine. Now, let's see, okay, and then need some RCS capabilities for later. Just like that. Let me bump that up one. There. Also going to need some power, so we'll add some solar panels to the sides. Just like that. Okay, so now we have the command module right here, the service module down here, and directly below the service module was the lunar module, the actual craft that landed on the moon. So go ahead, add that, and turn off the shroud. Now the lunar module only contained 2 parts. It was an ascending module and a descending module. And let's, oh, here it is. Okay, and there. So add this for the ascending module. and add this for the descending module. Just like that. Some landing legs. Some landing lights would be nice. And a ladder. Not that one. Let's try this. Well, that looks like it works. Alright, so that's the lunar module. Okay, good. Go ahead and assign the ladders to Action Group 8. Alright. Alright. We had remote unit in the back. Just clip that in there. Okay, that looks about right. Yeah, going to need some power on this unit. Oh, maybe. Alright, good enough, I guess. Alright, so that's the command module, the service module, and the lunar module. The whole spacecraft was propelled by a Saturn V rocket, which is a 3-stage heavy lifter. To date, it is still currently the largest rocket ever constructed, and also the most powerful one, capable of lifting the heaviest of payloads. I believe it's roughly 110 tons. So let's go ahead and construct the Saturn V rocket. Now, the real Saturn V had better fairing systems than Kerbal Space Program, so I'm just going to use these fairings instead. sure I clear the backside. Close the fairing. And then reroute. Alright, not the best fairing job I've ever constructed. Let me try fixing that one more time. Okay, that looks a little better. Not exactly completely aerodynamic, but it's a lot better than before. Alright, so the Saturn V rocket had radial fairings, and a Kerbal Space Program only has stack-based fairings, so I can't construct the actual Saturn V rocket. But this is the Kerbal version, so bear with me. Alright, let's see. The engines are also going to be different because Kerbal Space Program doesn't have the actual J2s and the F1 engines. Closest thing we got is this Vector thing, but they're kind of inefficient to use for this particular task, so I'm not going to use them. Instead, I'm going to propel the upper stage of the Saturn V with a skipper. The middle stage will be powered by a Rhino. And the lower stage will be propelled by a Mammoth. Add some stability fins, and there they are, tail fins. And that was the basis for the Saturn V. Alright, now let's go ahead and fix the staging, because KSP never ever gets the staging right. Alright, let's check. Bottom stage, middle stage. We can blow the fairings while we're in orbit. Upper stage. Alright, that looks good. And now let's do the staging. So for the abort, I'm going to deploy the fairings, decouple, and activate. Alright. Alright, that looks good. Am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think I am. So let's go ahead and launch. Okay, so we have our three-man crew. We have Jebediah being Neil Armstrong. We have Bill Kerman being Buzz Aldrin. And we have Bob Kerman being Michael Coleman. So let's go ahead and throttle up, activate the stability assistance, and launch. Now, the very first Apollo rocket, Apollo 1, malfunctioned due to a fire on the launch pad. Unfortunately, that caused casualties, and I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot the struts. KSP requires struts because for some reason KSP likes to add unnecessary parts, or let me say increase the part count unnecessarily, whatever. So here's a trick I learned a long time ago. You can add struts to the stock fairings just like this. Now, as long as the stock fairings remain closed by keeping the mouse away from it, we can actually enable the collision box that comes with it, and the struts will automatically attach to that collision box. So we can go ahead and get rid of that. The downside is after the fairings are gone, the struts remain. Okay, the actual Saturn V rocket did not have struts, by the way, but this is Kerbal mechanics. Alright, let's try this again. Stability assist, throttle up and launch. Okay, so yeah, the first Apollo rocket malfunctioned. There was a fire on the pad. There were casualties. There was a special pin that was awarded to the widows of the astronauts, and that very same pin was given to Neil Armstrong for the Apollo 11 mission. So Neil took it to space with him, And in the event, but just as a demonstration, in the event that a rocket was to malfunction, like this, the launch escape system would activate something like this. And the astronauts were kept safe, although it is kind of a rough ride on the way down. So we're going to go ahead and revert to launch and do an actual launch. Alright, so we have liftoff from Kerbal Space Center, which is supposed to represent Kennedy Space Center, where the Apollo 11 was lifted off from. And what I like to do is I like to start my gravity turns early while the atmosphere is still thick enough to maintain control. So go ahead and tilt approximately 15 degrees. That nav ball is so small I can barely see it. Switching to map view. Keeping an eye on our trajectory. Put the nav ball up. Now see, I like to fly by instrumentation only. I've learned to do it that way. Find it a lot better. Alright, stage and back to map. We're using the middle stage of the Saturn V rocket. The lower stage will crash back down to Earth into the ocean. And still flying by instrumentation. Coming up on the final portion of the gravity turn. And hold full horizontal from here on out. Just like that. And I'm going to continue to burn until I have an apoapsis in excess of 120,000 meters. 124, 125, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and build our circularization burn. Battery just went. Okay, going back. Alright, set up the circularization burn. Now I could do this without the node editor. I've done so many launches, it's astounding. But I'm actually just going to use the node editor because for tutorial purposes. Go ahead and circularize. And you know you're a good circle when your apoapses and your periapses switch approximately 90 degrees from each other. Let me see if I can get that somewhat perfect. Near perfect. Alright, so 125. 125. There is a little variance between the two, but that's okay. So while we were playing with the node editor, we managed to coast to the edge of the space. So now we are in space. We can go ahead and stage the fairings off. We no longer need the fairings. Also in space, there's no atmosphere to use. So we're going ahead and turn on the RCS and then turn to maneuver. Now we're in position. I'm just going to time warp to the circularization burn. And I have to sneeze. Hold on. Damn. If you can't tell from my voice, I'm having a severe allergy attack, so that's why I sound a little funny today. Alright, you know you're getting close to your circularization burn. Whoops, I just passed it by a minute. Whoops, that's what I get for talking. As I was trying to say, you know you get close to your circularization burn when your heading indicator gets close to the prograde marker. Go ahead and slow burn, and that should be. Let's use RCS to fine tune. I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright, let's see. Turn off map. And the middle stage was left in Earth's orbit. So we're going to go ahead and stage that off. Now we're going to go and find the moon. Set as the target. And it looks like the descending node, ascending node, and approximately here. It looks like. I'm just eyeballing it. I can't really explain it. It's just something that comes natural to me. Rough guess. Oops, too much. Yeah, right there, 125. In case you're wondering why 125, it's just one of my favorite numbers to use in KSP, mostly due to the altitude time warp requirements. 125 kilometers is not too far, not too close. It's just like the Goldilocks zone for me. Alright, so turn to circularization burn, 17 minutes, time warp. And I believe I missed the half burn. No, I didn't. Estimated 50 full on. Okay, there we go. Well, it's not exactly completely half burn, but you get the idea. So, the lunar module, the service module, and the command module of the Apollo 11 was propelled. Whoa, we just narrowly missed that. Wow. That would have been a catastrophe. Yeah, so the modules were propelled towards the moon using the upper stage only of the Saturn V rocket. And stupid allergies. Let me blow my nose, excuse me. Okay, I'm back. With a clear nose. Yeah, so go ahead and shut that off and do a slow burn to the rest of the way. Shut that off. Use the RCS for the last final adjustments. And turn off RCS to avoid any complications. So that'll set us on a course for the moon. We will come around, periapses. That's weird. Let's see what happens. Yeah, use RCS for fine tuning. There we go. Turn off RCS. Close enough. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and time warp. And I kind of like watching Kerbal just fade off into the distance. It's kind of cool to watch. That big blue marble is just a tiny, tiny, tiny speck in all of space. And we're watching it just drift on out. That's so cool. Alright, so goodbye Kerbal and hello moon. It's just so awesome to watch. I wish I could do that in real life. I really do. Alright, I gotta pay attention. Here will be the sphere of influence. This is where we will be caught in the moon's gravitational well. We're about less than an hour away. Go ahead and time warp to it. And now we're in the gravity well of the moon. There we are. 123. Alright, so bring up my instrumentation. We'll go full radial turn. And adjust our periapses. Alright, good. Add maneuver 1 hour away. So what happens is we're going to go ahead and fly past the moon, and then we're going to escape and shoot off into space. We don't want that, so what we do is we burn retrograde at the periapses, which is the point closest to the moon. And once again until it is 90 degrees, approximately 90 degrees from the original point. And that should give us a close, well, a little off. It's a slightly hyperbolic orbit, but that's fine. Go ahead and turn to maneuver. Have an estimated burn of 15 seconds, so half burn time will be 7.5. Let's go ahead and time warp to 7.5 seconds. And burn. Shut the engines off, slow burn, and there we go. Close enough. So now we have arrived in lunar orbit with our vessels, with the modules. We're going to go ahead and stage off that upper stage. We no longer require it. We also need to decouple the launch escape system because we no longer require that. Now here's something really fantastically interesting. Once the modules were in space, the command module pilot Michael Coleman managed to undock and redock with the lunar module like that. Oh, that's debris. That's debris. There we go. Alright, so go ahead and get some distance away. Push this out of the way. Okay, turn around. Retrograde. Not prograde, I'm sorry. Set that as the target. Now which way is down? Alright, so we are facing the correct direction. Let's see if I can get this. aligned just right. Oh, a little bit more this way. That looks to be about right. A little rotation. Nope. Back off, down. To the left. It's kind of hard for me to dock in stock. I used to have a mod called Docking Port Alignment Indicator. I like to use that when I'm trying to dock, but for the sake, yeah, I can't even talk today. For the sake of this history lesson, I opted not to use it. Go ahead and oh, 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 nope, 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 and missed it. Oh yay! All right, so go this way a little. And in, and up a little, and there. Okay. Wow, that was a little difficult. All right, so for history purposes, all right. Where am I? Okay. After the moon was, after the modules were redocked, the astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were transferred to the lunar module. So we're going to go ahead and transfer Jebediah, being Neil Armstrong, and transfer crew Bill Kerman, being Buzz Aldrin. After the crew had successfully transferred through the docking ports, they were undocked and set a course for. No, wait, I want to get this out the way. Let's put that out of the way. Now, Michael Coleman stayed in space in lunar orbit because he had to go and pick up the crew after they returned to moon orbit. So let's go ahead and pick a good landing spot, and I think that looks like it. Alright, yeah, it does. Alright, so to get there, I have to go here. And again, I'm eyeballing it. Okay, going retrograde. And make sure we're clear. And burn. Descender module was used to descend upon the moon. The original lander landed in a crater formation known as the Sea of Tranquility. I'm trying to get something that resembles it, but I don't see it. Let me go ahead and land in the large crater then. Close enough, I guess. Whatever. I guess it really doesn't matter because this place don't have a Sea of Tranquility that I know of. And that's probably the closest thing that can resemble such a thing, so fine. Alright. I'll go ahead and time warp. No, wait. There. Okay. Now we can time warp. Retrograde. A little bit more. Okay. And burn. Alright, cutting the engines off. I deaccelerated a little too soon. Too much too soon. That looks about right. There. Put out the landing gear. Turn on the landing lights. Control the deceleration. And hold on, I gotta start my truck. Alright, so my truck was complaining about low battery. I have my laptop plugged into a power inverter, and the power inverter tends to drain the battery quick, so I have to start the truck. That's what the background noise is, if you're wondering. So please excuse the truck while it runs. And using the shadow on the ground, I can judge the distance. Rotate around. And this is where the spotlight's coming into play. It looks like a flower on the ground, but it actually helps me create a bigger shadow so I can judge the distance to the surface. Almost there. Just a few more meters. Looks like we're going to be landing on an inclination. That's not good. Not best, but we're there. I don't have enough fuel left in the descending module to move, so please excuse this historical inaccuracy, and let's just pretend it never happened. So, the lunar module landed on the moon, hopefully in a better spot than I chose. Yeah, I need to work on my piloting skills. And Jebediah climbs out to be Neil Armstrong, the first person on the moon. So, that's one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind. Look at him having so much fun. Alright, so the crew spent a total of 21 hours on the surface of the moon. Now, plant a flag. Buzz Aldrin was also the second person on the moon. He spent slightly less time on the surface than Neil Armstrong. He seems to enjoy it. Not shown, I forgot. I totally forgot. There was seismic activity taken from the surface. They did some science experiments while they were up here. They also collected 147 pounds of rocks. Dr. Midline's made up ballistic rocks. Okay, we'll just keep that. And he'll take a surface sample as well. Alright, so they collected about 147 pounds of rocks, took a whole bunch of photos and whatnot, and then returned to the lunar module. So, let's see. Time warp. They spent a total of 21 hours on the surface while the command module did a full orbit. Get that into position. Come on, grab the ladder. There, up you go. Board. Cannot be, yeah, dumped experiments. I forgot about that, but whatever. Alright, so they collected 147 pounds of rocks and returned with it. Get rid of this, turn on SAS, make sure I have enough electric charge. Alright, I do. Check the systems, okay, radial, and throttle up, and whoops. Alright, I made a whoopsie. That was supposed to stay on the surface. That was not supposed to take off with us. That's going to crash land. Whatever. Struck a truck again. So going straight up. Until the apoapsis is about halfway. Start making a gravity turn. Now you'll notice that the gravity turn is a little sharp here because the low gravity allows me to do so. And I think I might miss the rendezvous. That's okay, I can fix that later. Yeah, it looks like I just might miss. Yeah, I missed. That's okay, we'll set it up in orbital rendezvous. Add maneuver, circularize, whoops. Just do a rough circular zip. What the heck? A rough circularization burn right there. Time warp. low gravity made it possible to take off with just these tiny rocket engines. And I missed the command module by 84 kilometers. So I need to work on my judgments. Alright. Periapses. Going to set up a rendezvous, so at the ascending node, match the planes. Add maneuver. Ascending node requires anti-normal burn. Until it's 90 degrees from the original. And there we go. Get into position. Actually, we might be able to set up a rendezvous that way. If we... Yep. Just like that. Bingo. 0-0. Doesn't get any better than that. It looks like I ran out of electricity. So as soon as I can get some charge in these solar panels, oh come on, rotate. There we go. Ready, 42, 46, anti-radial. Return full radial. Oops, turn that off. Alright, so charge the batteries. Batteries are charged. Turn it back on. Warp to maneuver. Oh, bollocks. I missed it by a minute. Hopefully it won't affect me that much. Check. Yeah. Let's do a small burn. Turn around the other way. That should be close enough. Let's see if I can fine tune it. I hate it when the orbit editor does that. Yeah, it was this way. Close enough. Alright, so let's go ahead and warp here. Retrograde with relativity to the target. And burn. Alright, so now we're going to face and switch. Now, Michael Coleman had to go and pick these guys up. They have no RCS. So go ahead and turn towards the target. Small burn. Oops, too much burn. RCS to back off. Off a little bit this way and a little down and in. See if I have better success than the last time. Bullseye. Alright, that was beautiful. Alright, so once they redocked, they'll transfer crew back to the command module and undock. The lunar module was left in lunar orbit as the rest of the crew transferred back home. Alright, there we go. Now I have to fix the staging again. So we'll bring the engines down, then the coupler, big parachutes will come after the drogue chutes. And that's that. Okay, so go ahead and open up the map view. That's where we are, and that's where Kerbal is, and let's see if I can remember this correctly. Alright, yeah, so 150 degrees roughly to retrograde. And that'll give us a transfer. Close enough. Let's see. The Apollo 11 mission splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. So let me see if I can get something that closely resembles that. There'll be 3 days to travel. Let's see if I can set up. And hopefully, I am really hoping that we'll land it. Alright. Turn around. One hour to maneuver. Let's see, 19 seconds would be 9.5 second half burn. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And for the purpose of the return trip, I may have put a too big of a tank on there, but it's mostly worried about size and dimensions than anything else. Alright, so there we go, and away we go. Alright, we're out of the moon's sphere of influence and in Kerbal's sphere of influence. Time warp. There's the moon. How hard is it to find a bleak blue one? There it is. Let's see where we're going to land. And there it is, something that resembles. Let's see if we can turn normal and yeah, normal. Let's see if we can get that up higher. Turn radial. Increase to compensate for drag. Maybe that'd be a little too much. There we go. That should put us right in the ocean. So turn normal and stage. I said stage. Thank you. Turn retrograde. And turn off all systems. Well, almost. Retrograde. Now we turn off. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Now, just using the atmosphere alone, we're going to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Oh, wow, this is one hell of a ride, I tell you. And you can see the service module is breaking apart from overheating in the atmosphere. Because as I previously stated, it was only the command module that made it back to Earth. Looks like the heat shield is really heating up. That's okay, we're slowing down. Go ahead and deploy the drogue chutes. And I forgot a hotkey to cut them. Cut the drogue chutes away and deploy the regular chutes. Also, the command module had an inflatable ring that went around the base to prevent it from sinking into the ocean. The Kerbal Space Program has no such inflatable ring, so please excuse that inaccuracy. Yeah, don't show again, I know. Just splash down, please. And splash. And there we have it, Apollo 11 mission in its entirety, although a few inaccuracies here and there, but that's basically how the mission went. I hope you enjoyed this reenactment. Not shown after it was splashed down, the crew was recovered by the U.S. Coast Guard, or was it the Navy? Can't remember which. But in Kerbal Space Program, we just push a button. So yeah, that's the reenactment of the Apollo 11 mission. I hope you enjoyed watching.